Hi there, Rabbi. How are you doing today? I see you're practicing your cartography. Speaking of which, I saw a clip recently on the interwebs from the first Indiana Jones movie, and it made a great deal out of the little plane flying across from the Himalayas to Egypt and passing over a map of the Middle East where there was this big country called Palestine. But I don't see it on yours. What happened?
Well, a quick history here. With the end of the First World War, when the Ottoman Empire was divided up, the British had a mandate, and the mandate was over the Middle East. And there were several attempts to carve out or cut up the mandate. So there would be a Palestine, there would be an Israel, there would be no country, one country. There were a lot of partition plans that went before the United Nations. So depending on when you picked up the map, the Sykes-Picot Agreement, which very few people have heard of, was the final say in the partition of the Middle East. So now it's into the 40s. World War II is raging, and so everyone was kind of ignoring what was going on in the Middle East and the fact that there was a British mandate and a French mandate to control Syria, to control what Jordan, to control Palestine, to control Israel. All that territory was under debate and different maps were drawn. The war is over. It's now 1947. So on November 29th, 1947, the General Assembly of the United Nations adopted a resolution for the establishment of an independent Jewish state in Palestine and called upon the inhabitants of the country to take such steps as necessary on their part to put the plan into effect. This recognition by the United Nations of the right of the Jewish people to establish their independent state may not be revoked. It is moreover the self-evident right of the Jewish people to be a nation, as all other nations in its sovereign state. Accordingly, we, the members of the United National Council, representing the Jewish people in Palestine, and the Zionist movement of the world met together in solemn assembly, and the day of the termination of the British mandate for Palestine, by virtue of the national and historic right of the Jewish people and the resolution of the General Assembly of the United Nations, hereby proclaim the establishment of the Jewish state in Palestine to be called Israel. Four Arab countries officially recognize Israel: Egypt, Jordan, the United Arab Emirates, and Morocco. Saudi Arabia was on the verge of recognizing Israel when Hamas decided to short circuit that and throw it off track by taking hostages. Sudan has agreed to normalize relations. Now, let's go back to the UN. It's 1947. The UN passes Resolution 181, which proposed a partition plan for Palestine into what I mentioned, the separate Arab and Jewish states. Now, the plan was never implemented, so it was suspended because of the war that broke out in 1947. The UN just stopped doing it. However, the plan was for a country Palestine, a country Israel. France is going to recognize a Palestine. This then is the perfect historic moment for the United Nations to do what they didn't do in 1947: declare a Palestine. And I mentioned Arab countries that have relations with Israel because there we have a whole group of countries and even others that don't formally recognize Israel that want to do something with what's going on in Gaza. Here we have all the support that would be needed to create a free, peaceful country of Palestine. not a country that's going to be a surrogate for Iran, and not a country that's going to be overrun by Hamas and Hezbollah, because I believe that it's in the best interest of all the Arab nations not to let that happen. And I believe that given the wealth, the ingenuity, and the support of Arab countries, that we can have a Palestine that will cooperate with Israel, with Egypt, and with Jordan. And we can watch the area flourish. And this will go about solving one of the biggest issues going on. However, it's going to take determination and the will of Arab countries to join with the nascent country of Palestine to create a free, independent country looking out for the interests of the Palestinian people. I think that's going to go a long way, but again, nothing will happen unless the Arab Council recognizes the legitimacy of the state of Israel and says, we have a solution. And the UN is going to do what it didn't do in 1947.
Well, isn't this also going to be problematic for the current Israeli government? Are they going to accept this declaration and cede the territory and control all the actions of its citizens, especially the ones that are going into the West Bank and seizing territory?
Yes, I think if there can be a concerted effort on the part of Arab countries to recognize the legitimacy of the state of Israel and the illegitimacy of Hamas and Hezbollah, then it all can be negotiated. Because I believe that Israel will see that a country, just like Egypt and Jordan, is in their own best interest, and they will help make it happen.
Let's hope you're right, Rabbi. Everybody wants peace in the Middle East, as far as I can tell, except for a few people who just want more discord. And we all have agreed that visualizing success is the first important step to achieving it.
Let's hope that that recognizing, or the statement, whatever statement France is going to make, will be an impetus for the United Nations, for Israel, for Arab countries to look at each other and say, what's going on isn't working for any of us and cannot be sustained. So let's all of us agree, and here is a solution.